Welcome back to State of Texas in Depth. So far, we are just 2 contests into the 2016 presidential election, and already the field has narrowed. Next Saturday, Republicans vote in South Carolina, and Democrats have their contest in Nevada. For a deeper look, I'm joined by Alana Rocha from our media partner, the Texas Tribune. Welcome.
Thank you.
So you were in Iowa. Kind of give me the breakdown there, and then how did that turn out in New Hampshire?
Well, we know, Ted Cruz took the prize in Iowa. He had spent a lot of time there visiting all 99 counties, had the evangelical vote, definitely played that up in his stump speeches. But, when you put it in perspective, he won there by beating Trump by 6,000 votes. He lost to Trump and, of course, John Kasich in New Hampshire by 60,000 votes as far as between him and Trump. So, putting it in scale now, Cruz rather, got to South Carolina and said, I'm the only one who knows how to beat Trump, and is hoping to break the tie with that contest on that Saturday.
Yeah, what happened? I mean, everyone wasn't expecting Cruz to win in New Hampshire, but do you feel like John Kasich getting ahead of him there was a little bit surprising?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it was low expectations for Cruz going into New Hampshire, much different electorate than he was campaigning to in Iowa, much more secular, not as much evangelical in that state. Of course, it's a primary, not a caucus, so different contest type as well. So low expectations, and then also, you had a lot of the quote-unquote establishment candidates being, Jeb Bush, John Kasich, all those, Chris Christie splitting their vote. So he essentially tied with Jeb Bush for third, is how he coined it when he got to South Carolina. So I don't think so. I mean, he was complaining a little bit that his third place finish didn't get quite the press that Marco Rubio's third place finish got in Iowa. So
how are things going to play out in South Carolina?
Well, already Cruz's camp has bought some 6-figure ad buy, railing against Marco Rubio, who he sees still in his crosshairs, not really a contender, but of course, a lot of people compare the two. And then, doing it with humor, though, in his latest ads against both Trump and Rubio.
What about here in Texas? I mean, it's coming up fast.
It's coming up fast, and it's already, he's laying the groundwork. He's touted that, in South Carolina, he has something like 8,000 volunteers. They call it Camp Cruz because they have a dormitory set up for them. And he has that organization going into Super Tuesday, where 15 states will cast votes, including here in Texas. I think there's something like, I counted before I came, 690 delegates up for grabs, Republicans, on that day. And, he's touted his organization, of course, his money at $19 million at the end of 2015. So, it'll be a test to see how he fares. But people in South Carolina say, yeah, there's more evangelicals here than New Hampshire, but, don't compare it apples to apples for Iowa.
When it comes to the political base here in Texas, the conservatives, are they rallying around Cruz?
I think it's easy to say that. Yeah, 11 senators so far, state senators, and something like 40 Republicans, state representatives have thrown their support. A lot of organization already.
Can't forget about the Democrats. How's that one looking?
It's looking good, but you have seen, Democratic operatives here put New Hampshire and Iowa into perspective, of course, with Hillary barely winning Iowa and then losing to Bernie Sanders in New Hampshire. They say, as far as the amount of people who voted in Iowa and New Hampshire compared to Tarrant County alone, you just really can't compare. So they're not really counting anybody out just yet.
That race has really been a lot of talk about the young voters.
Yeah, young voters and the women vote, being that Hillary Clinton is in the race, and the fact that a lot of women, I guess, are throwing their support behind Bernie Sanders. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But, they're already laying the groundwork here as well as far as organization.
Yeah, how do you think things will play out for Democrats here in the Lone Star State?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have my crystal ball ready to go, but I think it'll be interesting. Hillary has a lot of background here and, studied here, or at least, worked here initially in her early days. So, it'll remain to be seen. That young vote is something to look at, though. Ron Paul had it, you could argue, 4 years ago, and, did well with that, and they came out in New Hampshire pretty heavy. It's just really a dichotomy here in Texas with the major metropolitan areas versus the urban areas. So with Democrats, I'm not quite sure how that'll play out, being that we haven't elected one statewide in a number of years.
All right. Alana, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, straight ahead, dropping gas prices are making it easier to fill up your car, but it's also having an impact on the state's roads. Our one-on-one interview with TxDot's new leader, next on State of Texas in Depth. Welcome back to State of Texas in Depth. Since the start of this year, Texas has had a new man in charge of fixing traffic and making it easier to get around. James Bass took over as TxDot's new executive director. To give you some scale, TxDot manages more than 80,000 miles of highways and roads throughout the state. That's more than any other state. This week, our Robert Hadlock sat down to talk with Bass about some of the biggest issues facing the state, everything from traffic to toll road troubles.
There was a Proposition 1 and Proposition 7 that are going to bring billions of additional dollars into transportation planning. And so I want to make sure that the department is aligned and organized and ready to go as those dollars come in.
Tell me about some of the immediate things you're doing in your first month or so on the job.
I'm a big believer in perspective, and that on a particular issue, depending upon which perspective or angle you look at it, you may come up with a different opinion. And so previously I was CFO, but now as executive director, I think there's a different perspective that's needed to that. But I fully understand that myself and TxDot are not the only people that have perspectives on certain issues. And so going out and meeting with our partners at the local level and understanding their perspective on the transportation challenges that we face, I think it's been one of the most important things that I've been doing the first few weeks.
Specifically, what is TxDot doing to improve the traffic flow on I-35 in Austin?
We are working with the Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, who's our partner here at the local level, making project selections. And so just later this month, our commission will be taking action or considering a vote to provide additional funding to the 5 large metro areas of the state, including Austin. And so there's funding, I believe it's 3 different projects on Interstate 35 that would help the flow of traffic by adding additional capacity and making some operational improvements. In addition to that, we're looking at upgrading our traffic management system here in the Austin area. Again, the cameras and the dynamic message signs, so we can get that information to commuters, our customers.
Is there any discussion about the state buying up these toll roads to make them free roads?
There was a bill last session that asked us to gather information from the various toll entities in the state to gain an understanding and put into one location how much toll revenue debt is currently outstanding throughout the state of Texas, for us to then consolidate that information and come up with an estimated figure on what it would take to pay off all of that toll road debt. And so that report is due at the end of August.
Are you satisfied that the text tag billing problems have been mostly solved now?
The customer service lines have additional people answering the phones. It's an issue where I get a daily report on what the performance of the customer service line is. And since that initial wave and transition over, there's been great improvement in that area.
Thank you for joining us for State of Texas in Depth. Remember, you can join us every Sunday morning in the 8:30 half hour for a broader look at Texas politics. Stay tuned for Meet the Press coming up at 9. I'm Josh Hinkle. Have a great day.